to Florida. The crowd still looked like it were made up of zombies. All right, how many people in this room have lived here for most of their lives? A few hands went up. 20 years? A couple of dozen hands. 10 years? About the same number, which was telling me something. Nobody seemed to have any reason to move to Asheboro, and that had been true for a while. Let me be honest with you. When I finished high school, all I wanted was to get out of town. Several people laughed at that. I went to college, and then I found jobs in other places. I never planned to come back, especially after my folks left. So why am I here now? I waited for a response that never came. I pushed on. Because a very good friend of mine, who I've known since high school here, Lisbeth Scott, came to tell me that the town was broke and things weren't going to get any better unless something big happened. And she told me flat out that the town was desperate, and I was the only person she could think of who could help. And here I am. Finally, someone spoke. "Why'd she think that?" said a guy near the back of the room. "You'll have to ask her that, because I'm still wondering. Look, how many of you know what kind of shape this town is in?" "Physically? Financially?" the same guy said. "Physically, all you have to do is walk down the main street. It looks shabby, tired, like it got left behind while the world moved on." "Why is that?" someone else asked. "Please, don't throw things at me. I grew up here, so I can say what I see and what I believe. This is and always has been a good town, with good people living in it. But the only industry was the shovel factory, and that closed long before most of us were born, and nothing came along to replace it. We're too far from Baltimore to make it an easy commute. The train line passed us by a century ago. There was never any kind of important battle or big historical event here. It's pretty and peaceful and quiet, but you can't pay the bills or send your kids to college on that. So people have left, and nobody's replaced them, and Asheboro has just drifted along the way it always did, until very recently." I scanned the crowd to see if I had their attention. At least no one had gone to sleep yet. I went on. "And then the town council found some gumption and decided to buy the Barton estate and make something out of it, which took all the money you had. I applaud the courage and the hope it took to do that, but it's not enough to have a house, no matter how gorgeous, without any other reason to come to this town. So you people really have only one shot at thinking outside the box and saving the town." "And that's where you came in?" A middle-aged woman closer to the front spoke. "Why are you qualified to do anything about this mess?" I focused on her because it was a valid question. I don't claim to be an expert in city planning or in finance. The biggest project I've ever managed was a Baltimore hotel, and one in Philadelphia before that. But nobody else seems to have stepped up, and all I've agreed to was to try to come up with a plan that might work. And in case you're worried, I'm not getting paid for this. I just don't want to see the town die. "And you think you have some ideas to fix this?" "Maybe, but it's going to take some cooperation from the people in this town, particularly those who have a business in the center of town." "And money? Higher taxes?" "I know there's no money, and how could anybody raise taxes here when salaries and revenues are in the tank? I may be inexperienced, but I'm not naive. Just hear me out. You don't have to vote on it or support it in any other way, at least not yet. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. But let me say one thing. To make this work, you all have to commit to it and work together. If you can't do that, it's over." I could see that the natives were getting restless. So much for the big buildup. Time to get my big idea out there and let it sink or swim. "Settle down, people. I'm just getting to the good stuff. I propose that we turn the central blocks of Asheboro into a Victorian village, as authentic as we can make it. And an extension of that would be the Barton mansion outside of town. In case you don't remember your local history, Henry Barton was the owner of the factory on the edge of town and easily the richest man, and his house